Graham Nicholls was one of those young children who saw strangers who were invisible to others, standing at the foot of his bed as he went to sleep at night. Initially frightened by these experiences, over time, the opening that occurred in his psyche began showing him future events, including the London bombings. Through his ability to see beyond time and space, Graham learned to see the interconnectedness and love in all things. Along with taking part in the psychic experiments conducted by the esteemed biologist Rupert Sheldrake, Graham documented his experiences in his book titled Avenues of the Human Spirit.
But for the few days afterwards, I just had this sense of things before they happened almost. And I remember I was on a bus a few days after, and I just started thinking of someone I hadn't seen for like 2 years or whatever, and then I think it was about 3 stops later that person got on the bus. But this is within, you know, a day or two of the other thing. So as yet, it hadn't happened, but I'd seen this bombing, and then literally 5 days later there was this explosion.
The Soho bombing, you saw.
It happened, yeah. So that really.
And this happened again. I mean, with the London bombings, you had the same experience.
Yeah, it's interesting the way I always seem to have this connection with London.
Yes.
But
well, you're of that. I mean,
yeah.
It's part of your frequencies. But
Yeah.
what did this? How did you contend with the time and space aspect of what had happened?
It was really difficult
Because you were living it. You were feeling the event.
Yeah, it was obviously with the first experience, I did think that it was going to happen, but I'd never had a precognition before, and I only believed it was going to happen because of the intensity and the realism of it, and I wasn't aware of anything else that had happened like that. So I was convinced in some ways that it would, but I couldn't be sure. But then when it happened 5 days later, obviously that was like, you know, really threw me, yeah.
Well, you have to then begin questioning things like what is essentially predestined. If you had already experienced it 5 days before it occurred, you were obviously out of the time-space continuum into what we would in a linear fashion call the future, but not necessarily if it's all unfolding at the same time. You were in another dimensional aspect of time.
It could have been a potentiality.
It could have been a potentiality.
There's lots of possibilities. I mean, but it really opened me up to exploring that. And I remember when I was writing the book, I spoke to people like Dean Radin.
Yes.
I talked to lots of different scientists and tried to get this sense of what might have been going on that level. And I tried to take this almost like neutral position that I think the best thing to do is keep exploring the experiences and see where that unfolds and see what that shows us, and try not to commit to any particular ideology or theory, or because I think in a way those things stop us finding out what might be really going on in some ways. So.
This quiet and gentle soul shares his full story on CMN.TV.